Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to be speaking to the young people today. My name is Jane BK, or Jane Kehio if you like, and other people know me as Jane or BK. Now, I come from a company called Neema Shelters, which we founded alongside with my husband. And we've been running this company, and our mandate is to help people invest in their future and secure their dreams. Now, today I've been asked to speak about investments. And before I go into the details of what investment is and how to invest and all that, I would like us to go back to the beginning. The Bible says in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 28 that in the beginning, the Lord blessed them. And he asked them to go and be fruitful and to multiply. Right there is a charge for us to be fruitful, to multiply, and for us to do that, we cannot be able to do that without investing. In Matthew chapter 25, Jesus spoke of the parable of the talents. And this was a parable which he gave. He had 3 people. A master was going on a journey, and he picked 3 of his servants, each according to his abilities. And he gave them talents. To one he gave 5, to another he gave 2, and to another he gave 1. And each was given according to their own abilities. Therefore, the master knew what they were capable of. Now, what happened? The one who had 5, the Bible records that he went and traded and got another 5. Likewise, the one who had 2. But what happened to the one who had 1? He dug a hole in the ground and hid the talent that was given to him. So when the master returned, he needed an account from his servants. And to the one who had 5, he said, "Here I have an extra 5 out of the 5 which you gave me." Therefore, in total, he had 10 talents. To the one who had 2, he told the master, "I was able to get an extra 2. And the one who had 1, he told the master, "You know what? I knew that you like to reap where you have not sown. And therefore, I was afraid, and I went and hid the talent in the ground." What did the master say? To the one who had 5, the one who had 2, he told them, "Good and faithful servants." And he said that to them, more would be added because they were faithful in the little that was given to them. To the one who was given 1 talent, Jesus said, the master said, that "You lazy and wicked servant." And for that he was punished. And that which he had was taken away and given to the one who had 5. What does this tell us? That each one of us, we have been given talents. We have been given stewardship of something that we need to multiply. And that is where our investment topic comes in today. So now, the question begs, what is investment? And in financial terms, or if you want to look it in layman's terms, it's basically taking something and committing it today for the sake of your future. Simply meaning it's delayed gratification. You decide, this money, I'm not going to spend it today, but I'm going to put it aside for the sake of my future. So why should we invest? 1, we have seen it's biblical, according to the 2 scriptures that I have read for you. Number 2, it supports you in your sunset years. The truth is, we are going to age. Today you are young. Tomorrow, it's a different story. There'll come a time when you're no longer able to do what you're doing today. What happens when that time comes? You need to be prepared. And the time to start preparing is today. Number 3, it also gives you a peace of mind. If you know today that you leave employment and you have something that can support you for 6 months to a year, then you have a peace of mind. If you do not, the day you're told your services are no longer required, then you go into a panic mode. But when you invest, then you have that much needed peace of mind. It also ensures your financial security for the present and for the future. It becomes a shield against rising inflation, because we know that if you do not invest your money where it's going to earn something, then you are exposed to inflation. Your buying power becomes less and less. But if you invest, then you are able to cope up when inflation does arise. The other thing, emergencies do come. What happens when an emergency comes? If you have an investment, it helps you in the time of an emergency. And our responsibilities, we have to have something that caters for our responsibilities at any given time. So there are a million of other reasons why we need to start investing. So it's not an option, it is a must. Unfortunately, a lot of us, when we were young, nobody ever told us the importance of investing. We got this information far too late. But for you who are young, you have an opportunity to start now. Now, having said that you need to invest, the question is, where do you invest? And there are various ways in which you can invest. But I'll just give a few, just to get you thinking and get started. One of the places which you can invest, and I think it's accessible for everybody, even if you do not have one that works in your place of work, you can have one that is personal. It's a pension scheme. And this is where you put money aside for the sake of your retirement. And in some other countries, it could be called the 411. Whatever term you use it, it's simply having to put money aside. In some schemes, the employer puts also a similar amount as to the employee. In other places, the employer can put a fixed amount and the employee has the option to increase the amount that they're supposed to put in. So you need to start. If you don't have a pension scheme, whether it's individual or company related, you need to have one. The other place you can invest in is in the stock market, or what we call the securities market. This is where you buy shares, you buy bonds, etc. Another place is government bonds. In many countries, the government will always issue bonds. And this is a secure place, it's more or less risk-free, and this is a place that you can invest in. Fixed deposits. These are provided by majorly banks or financial institutions. You can invest in fixed deposits. Another place is SACCOs or even chamas. And SACCOs have a way to help you in terms of you put in money and you can borrow against the money that you have put in. And this helps you to do projects that you would otherwise not be able to do had you not been a member of a SACCO. It's a good investment vehicle. And finally, from my list is real estate, of what we would call the property market. This is where you generate real and great returns. And I'm going to talk more about real estate as we go along. So far, we've looked at the what, we've looked at the why, we've looked at the where, and now we need to talk about the how. How do you invest? It's very simple. You've got to start. And the time to start is now. Everything you do, every small thing you do, and accumulating wealth is made up of very little steps that we take on a day-to-day basis. The little money you put aside religiously, committedly, that is what will give you an accumulation of wealth at the end of the day. So how do you start? One, you've got to make a decision. If you have not started investing, the time to make the decision is now. Making a decision means developing a discipline and being persistent. So once you have said you're going to put aside X amount of money, you have to be persistent. You cannot start today, stop tomorrow, then start again and stop and all that. It has to be persistent and consistent. The other thing is, you have to have a goal in mind. The goal that you have is what will drive you. It is what will keep you focused. It is what will ensure that you don't get derailed and decide, this month I'm not going to invest. I need to buy myself a good pair of shoes. Now, if you have a goal, you stay focused and you don't get derailed. The other thing, you need to build momentum. I would want you to picture somebody moving a boulder or a rock up a hill. It takes a tremendous amount of effort to push that rock to the hill, up the hill. But once it's up the hill, getting it down requires very little or no effort. Same thing with investment. The beginning seems hard. But once you have started, once you reach the top of the hill, the momentum picks up. And you don't even notice, you don't even feel it. And that, building that momentum is very critical. You need to get to a point where it's no longer a struggle. Putting aside your 10, 15, or 20% or 1%, or whatever amount it is, it's no longer a struggle. That's when you have reached your momentum. Now, how do you get all this started? Start slow. Start wherever you can. Is it 1% that you can afford to put aside today? Is it 2%? Is it 5%? Whatever that amount is, start. Before you know it, you will reach a level where you are increasing that amount from the 1% to the 5% to the 10% to the 15, 10, 20%. You keep growing. So increase as you go along. Adjust your investments. If you get an increment, adjust the amount that you're putting aside. The other thing you need to do, not only put it aside, is know where are you going to put it aside. And we're going to talk about some of the precautions that you need to take. Now, before I share the precautions that you need to take while undertaking the journey of investments, I would like to share my personal story, which I don't shy away because it's something that people can learn from and avoid some of the pitfalls that I got myself into. Before I turned 25 years of age, I had a very nice vehicle, a Peugeot 406. It was black, it was sleek, it was beautiful. And to my peers, I was doing very, very well. Now, before I knew it, I got into a trap. And I told myself, whoops, owning lovely cars, it's not a bad thing. And I found myself upgrading from a Peugeot 406 to a Passat, black, sleek, and very nice. And before I realized, I had upgraded to a Mercedes. Now, to everybody, I seemed to be doing very well. But at the age of 30, I looked back and I asked myself, what have I achieved? What do I have? If I was to lose my job, what would I do and where would I go? And the answer was, the only thing I had in my name was a car. Was it an asset? The answer is no. It was a liability. I had to fuel it. It was giving me absolutely nothing but taking and taking and taking. And the more I upgraded, the more I required to put into that liability. So what did I do? I sat back, took a stock take of my life and asked myself, what do I want for my life? What will happen should I lose my job? Because nobody has a guarantee. As long as you're working for somebody, there are no guarantees. And even if you're working for yourself, things do change and markets do change. And when that happens, what are you gonna do? So from then on, I started a journey of investment and I was actively looking for investment opportunities. I had nobody to advise me what to do or where to start, but I was on a journey to investment. I had very clearly had it in my mind that I was going to invest. I immediately moved from a 4-bedroomed house with a DSQ to a 2-bedroomed house. Mind you, the 4-bedroom was rented. Therefore, the rent was up there. So the first step is I started looking at my lifestyle. I started making adjustments to my lifestyle to cope the goals that I had in mind. And that has paid off handsomely. I could have started late, but I beg to you, it's never late to start. I started, and today I look back and I'm glad that I started. When I looked at my pension, I was given the bare minimum, which was a 5%. And immediately I wrote a letter to the HR to increase it from 5% to 10%. Did it hurt my spending life? Absolutely not. From 10%, I increased to 15%, and I kept increasing. And by the time I decided I was going to retire, it paid off. And therefore, don't get into the pitfall that I fell into of getting this crazy lifestyle that cannot support you in your sunset years. Now, one more thing that I came to learn, and I learned this from my husband when we met, is that you don't have to have all the money to be able to invest in something. I needed to invest in a certain property, and it was way out of what I would think I could afford. And when I shared with him, he told me, how much do you have? I had about 10% of what was required, and he told me, you have more than enough. Put it in. You have no idea where the rest will come from, but it is going to come. And true to it, I obeyed. I put in the 10%, and before I knew it, I had paid for the whole property. So never look at your pocket and you say you cannot afford something simply because you do not have the whole amount in sight. You need to realize that once you take that step of faith, money will follow your dream. Don't be shy to dream big. That's what I learned, and it has paid off. Now, I want to quickly tell you some of the precautions that you need to take. 1, you have to do your due diligence. Don't jump into anything blindly. Number 2, if you're investing in companies, invest in credible companies. Number 3, and this I will repeat, and please have this in mind, avoid get rich quick opportunities or schemes. Most of the people, and if you talk to people and they are not shy to tell you the truth, they will tell you they have been preyed by Ponzi schemes, by pyramid schemes, because they come in and they promise these high, huge returns. And immediately you realize, oops, I can actually quit my job in a few months because this is going to make me super rich. I have been victim, not once, not twice, but thrice. But today I have learned, if anything is too good, run, and run quickly. And I'm not saying run to it, but run away and run very fast. Because any cent you put in there, I can guarantee you, without a shadow of doubt, you're going to lose it. And please, before you lose it, you might lose your mind. We've had people who have lost their minds, people who have committed suicide, people who have had heart attacks simply because they were conned by these schemes. And they put in their life savings and they lost it all. So be very careful. Number 4, never borrow money from Shylocks because you're signing your death sentence. It never ends. And you can get quickly into depression because these people come and they will harass you and you not know what has happened to you. And avoid peer pressure. Don't feel like you have to do it because your peers are doing it. Don't upgrade your car because your neighbor has upgraded a car or your best friend has upgraded a car. Don't go and buy that designer bag because everybody is buying a designer bag. We are all unique. The Bible says that we are created in God's own image. Nobody has a fingerprint like the other. We all have different fingerprints. Therefore, God created us unique and He wants us to live unique lives. Don't live the life of your neighbor, your friend, your sister, or your brother. Have a portfolio of investments. Don't get stuck in one line. Have many things going for you and you'll be happy at the end of the day. Just to summarize what I have just said, at some point, your body will slow down. That is a fact. You cannot run away from it. You will slow down. The energies you have today, I guarantee you, you will not have them in a few years' time. So, you will need income to survive. And therefore, you have to bear that in mind and do something about it today. You're lucky you're young, because when you're young, you can start investing and you don't have to sweat about it because you have a longer time to invest. The longer you wait to start, the more you will need to put in more amount of money to be able to achieve the same goal that you want to achieve today. If you're investing in real estate, the time to start is now. Don't wait, because the day you wait, a day wasted, a day not spent investing, it means you have delayed your income. You have delayed the growth of your money. Therefore, you need to start and start now. Now, the question is, you've given us all this information. Is there any vehicle that you can use for you to invest? And the answer is yes. When I started, I told you that at Neema Shelters, our dream is to shelter people's dream. And that is why we came together and incorporated Neema Shelters. We are very passionate about people's dreams. We are very passionate about securing people's future. And I will give you an example. In 2009, from a newspaper, I took a newspaper because that's the time I had started investing and I really wanted to, catch up and all that. And I took a newspaper article, and there was this parcel of land, an acre of land that was being sold along the proposed Eastern Bypass. At that time, nobody knew what a bypass was. And it was going for $400,000, equivalent of $4,000 at that time. And I could have afforded that parcel of land. And I put down the details. I put down the number of the person who was selling. And I put down a note, called, but he did not pick. But guess what? That was the last time I saw that notebook. I saw it later, many years down the line, precisely in 2016, from 2009. And I looked at it and was like, how did I miss this opportunity? Because today, that parcel of land is going for $400,000 US. If I had bought it less than 10 years ago for $4,000, today I would be having an equivalent of $400,000 worth of an investment that I missed. The question is, how many opportunities have we missed? We missed many. Now, what do we do at Neema Shelters? Neema Shelters, we bring to you such kind of opportunities, something you can invest in today, and 10 years down the line, you'll be saying, wow, look at how much my wealth has grown. And we bring to you parcels of land that are authentic, that are secure, that are real, and that we have invested time in checking the credibility of those parcels of land. And the land we bring to you has its title. So the moment you pay, we give you your title. And we secure your future in that way. So what do we have right now? With only $3,250 in cash, you can get yourself a 50 by 100 parcel of land at the Serenic Moor Hills Gardens. And this is a parcel of land that is so beautifully placed, and it overlooks the Lukenya Hills, Kilimabogo Hills, and Koma Hills. From there, you are able to see all this surrounding. And with only that amount of money, you can be able to secure yourself 50 by 100, which is an equivalent of an eighth of an acre. If you are not buying cash, you can buy the same for $3,500 in installments of 6 months. You will not get such a deal around that area from anybody. And that amount is inclusive of the title. Picture yourself 10 years down the line, and remember what I have told you about the 1 acre on the Eastern Bypass, that today I cannot afford to buy it. But then I could have bought it, and today my wealth would have grown that much. Remember, the area which we are bringing to you is now what we are calling the bedroom of Nairobi, because other areas are saturated, and this is the area that people are going into. And therefore, when we bring an investment to you, we ask ourselves, if somebody invests here, how quickly are they going to get their returns? Can I invest in that parcel of land? And if the answer is yes, then I buy it and I bring it to you. Therefore, you can be guaranteed that what you're bringing to you is something that is going to create your wealth and grow your wealth. I welcome you to take the investment journey in whichever format. Invest with us, invest in other vehicles, and I can assure you, you will not regret. Investment is a must. I will end with a quote from one of the known billionaires, Andrew Carnegie. And what he said is that 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. More money has been made in real estate than in all industrial investments combined. The wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. I welcome you. Invest, and more so, invest in real estate. Now, should you want to reach out to us, ask any question, you can be able to reach us on our website page, neemashelters.co.ke. You can get us on Facebook, Neema Shelters. You can get us on Instagram, Neema_Shelters_Limited. All these channels, you can be able to get us. Our contact details will appear on the screen. You'll have our telephone numbers. You can call us. You can ask any question as far as investments are concerned. Remember, it's not the amount of money that you are earning today. It is a discipline. It is a commitment. It is that passion that you want to achieve something in life that will get you going. Thank you.